opportunity to provide the study and also to do this presentation for you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Councilor Delano.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to admit that as I sit here and as I've reread this report, and even the times I have read this, you gentlemen were very kind in how you presented this. This is a deplorable report of the state of the fire department here in our city. Deplorable. Our city, our residents deserve better. Our firefighters deserve better. Many of those young firefighters and firefighters that have even been around a little bit longer deserve a better situation in which to work. The number of chiefs, good men who have come through here, and once they get elevated up to that rank of fire chief, their friends, their brothers in arms, who work with them for 20 or 25 years, turn their backs on these men. Turn their backs, would not cooperate, in fact, made their lives in many ways a living hell. We've seen it over and over and over. Something has to change. Something has to change. And I'll tell you, if I was one of those young people, or somebody who's been there 5, 10, 15 years who wants to make the department all that it can be. We have a lot of good people there, but we have a lot of people who are there who are part of this broken system. Part of this system, I don't even really want to read this in public, and it's so upsetting, where it seems that the loyalty is to the union and not to the city, not to the residents of Marlborough. Not good. We can't have that. A union has its place, collective bargaining has its place, but what we have seen here, what we have read here, the report, it's not just city leaders that have been interviewed, it's surrounding fire chiefs. And let me just, I'm going to read a little bit. And one of the paragraphs says, the result of these interviews were pretty unique when compared to other fire department studies that we have conducted, being these gentlemen. A commonality of opinion that the members of Marlborough Fire Department are frequently unreasonable in their expectations, portray a sense of entitlement in all of their dealings with the city, and demand something in return for any change that is implemented, no matter how small or positive it may be. There's a perception within the department that a number, not all, of department officers are deficient in leadership, management, and or supervisory skills, and that a number of them, to quote again, are more loyal to the union than they are to the department, the chief, the city, and most of all, the Marlborough taxpayers. We have surrounding chiefs, Marlborough, Northborough, Hudson, who say that our people have shown up to mutual aid calls, and I'm going to read this right here. Most troubling among these concerns is that there is a feeling among the chiefs of Marlborough's surrounding communities that discipline is poor. They show up on fires not always properly geared up and ready to work, and at times have ignored orders. We can't have this. We need to get this department in order. And again, imagine if you were one of those young people who wants to make changes. It goes on to say in the report that when people speak up, that they're often stepped on by the union. That's my word, not theirs. Okay, so they take heat from the union leaders, if they dare to speak up with the problems going on there. You know, that to me is bullying and harassment. We can't have it. We're the ones who can fix it, and the mayor, we have to fix it. We can't let it go on like this. We're going to lose good people. We're heading in the wrong direction. And I think, Madam President, it is sheer folly for us to hire a new fire chief until we straighten these things out. Let us do some of the heavy lifting. Let them hate us or whomever's trying to make these things. For that small but very few who are trying to take this fire department over for personal gain and for their own reasons. We should do that before we bring in a new chief. We need to make these changes. One of the recommendations that was also in the report was not only should the chief come out, but if I'm not incorrect, the assistant fire chief positions were even recommended to come from outside the department. because whatever it is that is in some of the leadership there is so pernicious that these gentlemen, who are complete outsiders, studied many departments, said, you got to go outside for all of your top leadership. That's a horrible statement. And what must it be like to work under that type of a regime if you're trying to improve and make yourself the best firefighter you can make? I think that we need to, before we get too far, Mr. Mayor and Madam President, I'm going to wrap it up here. I apologize. This really has me worked up. We need to have a roadmap as to where we're going. Madam President, through you to the mayor, we need to know where we're going. We need to know which recommendations we're going to accept. And if we need to have a big battle, let's have a big battle. If we can get more cooperation, great. Let's bring in part-time firefighters. Let's bring in call firefighters, because guess what? According to this report, we have them in Hudson and Southborough and Northborough. We may have to do something drastic like that. I hope we don't have to, but thank you, Madam President.
Any other questions or comments? Councilor Warren.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a couple questions, but first, thank you for your report. I like how you started the presentation about it being a roadmap. I like how you ended it commending the people that are doing their job. I concur with Councilor Delano on one item, not everything he said, and that is the fact that we should be starting to work on this now even prior to a fire chief, which leads me to my first question. Are there various opportunities to look at some of these standing operating procedures within Massachusetts and other fire departments so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, such as other cities, especially cities, since we are a city and city government, so we can look at those and say, you know, here's some placeholders or here's some ideas that would work right now. And I was curious if you know of any opportunities so we don't have to recreate or find 100 to 150 SOPs.
I don't know if there's a central clearinghouse as such. Usually if a fire department contacts another department and they ask their chief for their SOPs, they'll be happy to supply them. The Massachusetts Fire Chiefs Association may have that as a resource on their website. The International Association of Fire Chiefs has resources like model SOPs about various things on their website. A lot of big fire departments have their websites or have their SOPs listed on their websites. You can take the basic template and then tailor it to the needs, the specific operational situations here in Marlborough. So you're not totally reinventing the wheel, but you're kind of getting a head start on it.
And I would tell you that through the U.S. Fire Administration, you go online to their services where books are available. They actually have a book, a format on basic standard operating procedures or guidelines. It gives you a format to use, it gives you an outline for each one, and it gives you a number of areas that a department this size should consider having. So if you start as a basis, they're great templates, and then begin to see what other people have and fill in the blanks, it really has to happen. But I would say that it's important, a very important part of developing standard operating procedures are that it happens from within. If you're just stealing somebody else's rules, they're not yours. They have to come from you because they've got to be developed about what works best for you. And if you start just kind of borrowing for other people, it may not be in your best interest to do that. They're good to look at. And certainly you have a chief. I had an opportunity to meet him tonight. I'm sure that he has a number of those resources where he can tap in and get those.
And with that,
Interject for 1 second, Councilor.
Sure.
I do want to let all the councilors know, I'm sure that they're aware, Chief Harold is not simply a placeholder here while he's here serving. He has actively been working on standard operating procedures and moving the department forward.
And that's an excellent note, because that was going to be my question. So, Madam President, you just answered it for me, and thank you, Interim Chief. We appreciate that. The next question leads to, and I agree with you, we're looking at this as a roadmap. Many maps have layers. Talking about layers, electronic overview, such as forms, such as applications. You mentioned that just a minute ago. I'm sure there's electronic applications, computer applications, I should say, as it relates to some of this work to make it easier for training.